What if I told you that thousands of firefighters across the country are gathering in key cities across our nation, but not to fight fires, but to participate in the Firefighter Challenge presented by Task Force Tips? So why are they doing that? What is the Firefighter Challenge, and what's the mission of Task Force Tips? Gorden Voit from TFT joins us to talk about those questions, the challenge, how they support firefighters, and so much more. That's all coming up right here, right now. I'm Sam Chen, and this is Face the Issues. Good evening and welcome to Face the Issues. I'm Sam Chen. When you see firefighters gather, you probably think there's fire or at least smoke. But that's not necessarily the case, as thousands of firefighters are gathering in cities across America for something called the Firefighter Challenge. So why are they doing this? And what about the organization that's a key sponsor of them, Task Force Tips? What are they doing? What is their mission to improve how firefighters are equipped to fight fires? We're joined by Gorden Voit. He is the creative marketing manager of Task Force Tips. Gorden, welcome to Face the Issues.
Sam, it's awesome to be here in person. We've done this a bunch of times before digitally, and yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
This is, for our viewers at home, this is different. They might think this is a twin because we've got Gorden Voit in studio for the first time in seasons, and not talking about sports today.
Nope. Content creation, yes. Specifically sports, no. We're going to be talking about something that I'm really passionate about, which is supporting the fire service. So thanks for having me on.
That's so neat. So you are, I mean, you're still doing the sports stuff. I don't think we can ever get that out of your blood, right? You've been a sports anchor, journalist. You've been an agent with, you have your own company. But you're currently also working for this group called Task Force Tips. And one of the things that your group is doing is you sponsor something called the Firefighter Challenge. Let's start from the top. What is the Firefighter Challenge?
Firefighter Challenge is basically, when I explain it, if I'm at the grocery store picking out grapes, is if you were to take American Ninja Warrior or American Gladiator, but make it for firefighters, that's exactly what this is. And we're super excited that we get a chance to partner with these people. So there's 8 regionals across the country. There's a national and then an international competition. And essentially, it's an obstacle course. It is, you are redlining the entire time. For people that are Orange Theory fans, fitness fans, you know, orange is kind of that mid-zone. Yeah. Redlining is when you basically go all out. And so they call it, ESPN dubbed it the toughest 2 minutes in sports. And so basically there are 5 stations that they go. You run up the tower carrying a very heavy hose pack. And once you're at the top of the tower, you're hauling that hose pack up hand by hand, and it looks easy, but that thing will get your deltoids, you know, tired in a hurry. Then you run back down the tower, and then it's time for what's called forcible entry. Okay. So you take a mallet and you slam, and you're basically simulating getting into a house or a shed or even sometimes a car. And so you're slamming a mallet, moving a sled, dong, dong, dong. Bet you didn't know there were going to be sound effects with my story. That's station 3. Station 4 is you grab a fine TFT smoothbore nozzle, and then it's all about nozzle advance. So advancing that hose, simulating down a hallway. They're dragging the hose. They go through, and then they have to hit a target, and they're using our smoothbore. So it's a very focused stream of water. For those that don't know what smoothbore means, it means there's no obstructions. Basically just a straight stream of water. So that's the 4th one, I should say. And then the 5th one is really where you are pushing your body to the limit. It's also the slowest of the stations, and it's called Rescue Randy. Okay. And so basically it's a 175-pound dummy that you have to bear hug. Then they pick him up, and then they inch back all the way the length of the course. And so you're using a different mix of skills that you would use in the fire service making a rescue. It's about fitness, and it's also about camaraderie, and we can get into that, I'm sure, a little later.
There's a lot of firefighter shows on TV right now. Chicago Fire.
That's right.
LA Fire. Fire Country.
Seattle Fire. I think there's one in Seattle.
Is there one in Seattle?
Yeah,
Like the Fire Country, right? 911. And any of those shows obviously is dramatized, but you see them practicing drills in their firehouses. It's something similar. You're doing so. This isn't just an obstacle course. This is stuff that firefighters are actually doing in real fires. You're now setting it up as a competition.
Totally. And so, yeah, it is something that is fun, and it's all about the camaraderie. You have people cheering each other on. I mean, it's a similar group of people that go around the country to these different events. And so it's about brotherhood and sisterhood, first and foremost. But yes, it is also a preparedness issue. Seconds matter in the fire service. Sure. You've got a wood frame, a single-family home that goes from, a oven fire to the entire first and second floor engulfed in flames. The difference between getting the family out in 40 seconds or 43 seconds could be life and death. Not to be too dramatic, that's just the reality of the fire service. And so Firefighter Challenge is all about helping those firefighters on their journey to be the best versions of themselves. And so it is about readiness. It is about, in a rescue situation, you will have to hoist people out. You will have to carry heavy equipment, and this allows firefighters to be at their peak performance.
So everybody who participates is in the fire service?
Correct, yep. So I would not be allowed. I think that they're very kind people, so I'm sure they would be allowed, but...
Could you beat them?
No. I do one thing really well, Sam, and that is I go on the stair machine at the gym, and I go like this for 35 minutes. So if you need me to go up a moderately steep incline for long distances of time very slowly, I'm your guy.
That's your thing.
But other than that, no. But yeah, we want every firefighter to participate in this. We have, like you said, we have hundreds, thousands of them that are part of this community. We had somebody coming in to our Midwest regional from Alaska.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's just super fun to see the variety. I met some firefighters from New Brunswick at a competition earlier this summer down in Exton, Pennsylvania at our Northeast regional. And yeah, we want maximum participation. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about some of the opportunities to get involved. But we really want you to join this community because we're super passionate about it.
Yeah. Volunteer firefighters, paid firefighters, or is it open to anybody who's in that fire
Open to anybody,
service?
yep.
Okay.
I talked to a gentleman today he owns a medical device company, and he also recycles materials in those drop-off boxes.
Yeah.
And he's a volunteer firefighter. I don't know how, and of course he's got the good Raleigh Fingers style mustache.
He looks like a firefighter.
Yeah, in fact, that was my icebreaker. It was like, okay, I got to hear the story behind your mustache. You see some incredible mustaches in the fire service. But yeah, it runs the gamut from, we had Upper Darby was there cheering folks on at the Northeast Regional earlier this summer. That was super fun to get a chance to see them. And that is an incredibly different environment of fighting fires in mid-rises, high-rises, older buildings, obviously dense housing in Upper Darby, versus a rural department in the middle of the New Brunswick forest up in Canada. Totally different, and so it's really cool to see just the mix of personalities and tactical situations represented at these competitions.
Yeah. How many firefighters or do fire companies sign up, or individuals, and how many roughly do you get companies or firefighters across the country? We get
it's really a slice of the fire service. So at our Midwest Regional, we hosted at our headquarters in Valparaiso, Indiana earlier this summer. We had firefighters from the Chicago region, which is where we are located. But like I said, we had Rapid City, South Dakota was one of they came en masse. They were there was probably 5 to 7 of them competing. And so, yeah, a lot of times what we'll see is individuals who just have a really spunky attitude and want to stay super fit. They'll basically show up and they say, hey, do you have a place for me because they're relay teams as well. You can compete individually, or a lot of times there'll be called what are known as combat teams. Okay. And so, for example, Fleming College in Ontario, they have a renowned fire program, and so they sent about a dozen of their cadets down to compete in Exton earlier this summer. And so yeah, we see a whole range of people, and a lot of people don't realize this, maybe that are at home, but 70% of the fire service in the United States of America is volunteer.
Oh, wow.
And so there are about 1 million firefighters in the United States. So we're talking about 700,000 volunteer firefighters. And a lot of times you could be living in a community your whole life and not know that there's a group of men and women who are showing up to protect their communities. And so, yeah, we see a whole range of people who have been on paid departments from Lansing, Michigan, Pensacola, Florida. We had, Lexington, Kentucky is a hotbed for the sport. And so it's such a blessing to get a chance to see just what does the average firefighter look like? Well, how much time do you have? Because it's a diverse group of people.
Yeah, that's really cool. Before we close out this segment, $1 million question. You have spent a career in the TV industry, in the journalism industry, covering sports. Do you get to do the play-by-play for these games? And if not, who do we have to call to make sure Gorden Voit's doing play-by-play?
Well, I'm honored you would say that. I mean this sincerely. Hewan DeRiggs is the PA man. He is one of the most talented announcers I've ever seen in my life. I've covered Big Ten football. I've been at professional environments. He is incredible, and he also drives the rig with all the equipment to each event. He has a CDL. And then Jeff Jones is another incredible content creator who is with them. So they are in great hands. They don't need Gorden Voit messing up what they've got going. But Firefighter Challenge is blessed with some super talented people.
Yeah, that's super cool. We're going to go to the break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about your company, the work that you guys do in supporting firefighters. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Face the Issues is produced and recorded in the studios of Lighthouse TV. Positively different. Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can view our in-house studio productions on demand, or watch what's on the station right now with our 24/7 live stream. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device, or go to our website for more information. Visit lighthousetv.org to stay connected. There you can find out what's currently on the air and coming up, how to watch in your area on cable, satellite, broadcast, or streaming devices. Watch past programs or our live stream. Follow us on social media and learn more about the station, our hosts, and our programming. Lighthouse TV, positively different.
Welcome back to Face the Issues. Gorden, thanks again for being here.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure.
Let's talk about your organization, Task Force Tips. You guys are one of the largest sponsors of the Firefighter Challenge. What is Task Force Tips? I think most people who aren't tuned into the firefighting community probably haven't heard of him. So what is your organization? What do you do? And then most importantly, why do you guys do it?
Well, I think there's two answers I have to that question, Sam. It's a great question. First of all is we are all about supporting the fire service. So our mission as a company is to help firefighters become the best versions of themselves possible. And so the second part of your question is what do we do? And we do that through equipment, service, and training. So basically, if I'm out and about, at the grocery store, at church or something, I'll talk about, we make many of the metal devices that go into a fire operation. So if you look closely, you'll see on almost every fire truck will have an intake valve. You don't just hook the hose up, willy-nilly. There's a sophisticated equipment that we manufacture for water flow purposes. And so we also we're a nozzle company, so the end of the hose, if you look, your local fire truck, fire apparatus, we like to call it. We make those nozzles. We're very proud. We were the first company to make the automatic nozzle, which adjusts for pressures, and we can get into some of those technical specs later. But we're super proud to provide water flow equipment, whether that be valves, nozzles, monitors. A monitor, I like to explain, is basically like a deck gun. So if you see like a huge water jet coming off a fireboat or a truck at the end of the ladder, that water that's shooting off in a sophisticated way is thanks to what's called a monitor. So we make those water flow bits of equipment. But we're also super passionate about the frontier of firefighting equipment, which is cancer prevention. And so we have developed cutting-edge technology to remove the volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that are present on turnout gear after a fire. So you might think, and a lot of people say, "Ooh, that smells good." You know, after a fire, there's that kind of that aroma. Well, it's actually incredibly dangerous, and it's cancer-causing, and it's contributing to this massive epidemic in the fire service. Sure. If you know a firefighter, unfortunately, odds are you know somebody who is battling cancer. That's one of the realities of the job. That's what they sign up for. They're heroes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so Task Force Tips went on a mission and said, that's not right.
Yeah.
What can we do to help this amazing group of people? Who doesn't love a firefighter, by the way? I mean, it's like one of the few segments of our country that's not divided. It's like everybody agrees firefighters are awesome. And they're struggling right now because they're dealing with not just lung cancer, but all forms of cancer. And the reason is that smoke is just a noxious substance.
Sure.
Our bodies are not meant to handle that. And so we developed equipment that isn't just air filtration, but it takes all the volatile organic compounds out of the air so that when you're in the apparatus on the way to the fire, on the way home from the fire, basically a lot of the solutions that were present before were just, hey, get a bucket and a brush and scrub with some dirty water. And we said, that's not right, there's gotta be a better way. So that's where we developed our air filtration solutions to this awful cancer problem.
Yeah, let me ask about that a little bit. So obviously the smoke, we know that can cause cancer. That's been, I mean, we talked about with veterans in burn pits.
Totally.
I mean, just smoking, right? I mean, the Surgeon General's warning's on there for a reason.
Totally.
What you're saying is there's something beyond just the smoke. When they come out of this, the stuff that collects on their uniforms, that after their masks are off, they're going back to station with those uniforms. You're not washing them every day. That stuff and prolonged exposure to it, these guys live at the firehouse, can lead to cancer.
Totally. So we have solutions. We make filtration units that can sit in problematic areas in fire stations. And so what we do is we give them one of those, a cool-looking science kit that you would have seen when you were a little kid. Yeah. It's got these purple pill-looking things in it. Okay. We call that an air card. And basically, it samples the air. It shows you what those beads are supposed to look like. And people are shocked when they get the results of the air screening because there are a lot of times where it's also diesel fumes from the apparatuses, from the trucks. That's incredibly problematic. And so what happens is you have these fire stations. A lot of them, by the way, have mold. In my hometown of Chicago, a lot of them are just older buildings. And any kind of older building, is going to have issues like that all over the country. It's not just Chicago, but just older buildings have air quality issues. And so people are sleeping in bunkhouses, for example, and you've got diesel fumes pooling. And this is unfortunately not a local issue. This is a national issue. And so we have equipment that will sit in those problematic areas. They're all over the country right now. And then also in the mobile command units with these apparatuses, they just go right there in the console or wherever else you want to put it. And so that those firefighters, when they're in transit, they can also be safe there too. So both mobile and in a station, air quality is something that we're passionate about.
So these things you're saying, so some of it's to test the air and some of it's actually to help clean it?
Correct. So basically what we do with the air cards is we just want to let people know lovingly there's a problem going on in your station. Yep. And people are pretty shocked when they see the results because there's kind of this folksy wisdom of, just open up the door and just let that air out, and that is not adequate. I've seen the results myself. You can talk to firefighters, and that's my job, is to capture those stories. So I go all over the country capturing these stories and sharing them because these fire stations are realizing that there's a major issue, like I said, diesel fumes, and also just the residue from fire, from smoke. This is a big time issue. And so the air card is basically that canary in the coal mine saying, guys, there's a problem here. And so that's where we come in with our product solutions, which are these big metal boxes we call Station Protects and Crew Protects. And so we're very proud that there are stations all over the country that are trusting us for that solution because we have people in our company whose loved ones have been taken to cancer for this exact reason. And so it's personal to us.
Yeah. I know you guys do a lot of education work as well.
We do.
Is this kind of the idea of the filters or educating departments, or it goes beyond this? I'm assuming.
Totally, yeah. So basically, I was brought in to TFT, and I'm super proud to help firefighters on their journey to make themselves the best that they can possibly be. And so there are firefighters all over the country who are saying, you know what, I want to be the best that I can be at my job.
Sure.
There are 1.5 million tactical situations you can find yourself in, and you need to know what's the best intake valve to use, what's the best nozzle to use, what are the different tactics we need. And a lot of, most of the country is away from a municipal hydrant system. So how do you get water when there's no hydrant? Well, you draft out of ponds. And so our mission from a content perspective is we want to help firefighters get better at their job. I have nothing to do with sales. I'm in this to educate firefighters and to help explain that there's all these great tactics out there that maybe 90% of firefighters haven't burp draft, for example, and you can check it out on our website. We just did an 8-episode series called Rural Water Supply. So there's a lot of rural fire departments here in Pennsylvania and in the East. And so it's our mission to arm firefighters on their journey to get better at their jobs. And so we're super grateful that we get a chance to make videos for them to help them get better.
Yeah. How many firefighter companies are you guys partnered with? It sounds like a lot, but I'm assuming it's across the country.
I'm always tickled when I see these Facebook comments come streaming in, and we'll have a post, will pop off with 600,000 views or something. People are arguing, is it called a tanker or is it called the tender? What is it called, the water delivery? And people getting these heated debates. Firefighters are passionate about their work, and so we see people chiming in. We're fortunate we've sold to, I think it's over 95 countries.
Oh, wow.
We've got all the flags up and we make everything at our facility in Indiana. We're very proud to be an American-made manufacturing output. We employ over 200 people in the United States, and we're just super grateful that we get a chance to, it's literally like a stone's throw away from my desk. If I want to see the valves and the nozzles get made, and I can go and we test every single bit of equipment with a water tank. I can just walk and it takes me about 17 seconds to get to the nozzle test tank. And we're just super grateful that we get a chance to make that in America.
Yeah. What is the goal as far as the future of firefighting is concerned? Obviously, the cancer situation is something that has to be tackled. But and that's part of the reason I think there's a decline in people who want to become firefighters. Here, a lot of our counties in this area have begun to try to create incentives, tax incentives for volunteer firefighters who live within the county, because the numbers of people who are volunteering or going into it as a full-time job are declining. I think part of it is, again, the healthcare concern as well. What's the future of firefighting from your perspective?
You're exactly right. We had anecdotal evidence from St. Charles, Illinois, which is a large suburb outside of Chicago, talking to their deputy chief there, and he said, gosh, when I was coming up, we used to have 200 people for an opening at like a career fair. And he said, now we're lucky if we get 20 or 30. And I said, wait a second, you're talking about a 90% reduction in interest? Again, anecdotal, but the wider data also suggests that there is a massive recruiting issue in the fire service. Frankly, it's the same thing as, we need referees and umpires for youth sports. That's a tough job and they're not getting paid very much money. And so firefighters are, in many cases, risking their lives for, a t-shirt. They're heroes, and we want to really support them. Anyway, so basically, recruiting is a major issue. And so we want to let people know that there is honor in this profession, and we want to equip them if they choose to sign up. That's kind of where we enter the picture, is we want to let them know that we're going to back them with the best training in the industry and the best service. And we service all of our own equipment. We don't ship it off to some offshore facility. Sure. We will fix your nozzle in-house if it breaks. Somebody will answer in Indiana if you have a technical question or have a service question, or send an email. I sit about 50 feet away from Mary and Charlotte. Shout out to Mary and Charlotte. They're great customer service representatives. And secondly, I would say that what we learned from, I'm out there basically being just soaking up as much as I can. I'm a sponge. Deputy Chief once told me, he said, you know what gets these young firefighters their ears to perk up is the health piece. And so he was saying that they've seen an increase in candidate quality when they put out there that they are a health-conscious department. So they have a personal trainer at their department. So if you're a fire chief or you know a fire chief out there, invest in health. Yeah. It's not just good for the people that are involved in your outfit, it's good for your bottom line too. Yeah. And I think that it's not mutually exclusive. You will get a better recruiting, a better candidate pool, a better recruiting endeavor if you are a healthy department. Because firefighters, they don't want to just do the job and then get cancer and pass away. And I know that may seem flippant to me to say, but I'm paraphrasing what I've heard in these many interviews I've done, is that people want to be healthy nowadays. The old image, in Backdraft, the movie where they've got the smoke and kind of that romanticized image, people are realizing that that's dangerous and that will lead to a shortened life in a way that doesn't have to happen. And so it's awesome that I get a chance to show up to work every day and be a part of that solution.
Yeah, it's incredible. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Face the Issues is produced and recorded in the studios of Lighthouse TV. Positively different. Watch Lighthouse TV wherever you go. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can view our in-house studio productions on demand or watch what's on the station right now with our 24/7 live stream. Search Lighthouse TV online on your streaming device or go to our website lighthousetv.org for more information. Lighthouse TV, positively different.
Welcome back to Face the Issues. Gorden, thanks again for being here. One of the things you said as we were talking is that firefighters are one of the few people that the entire country still unites about, that we all love firefighters. Could you expand on that? Why do you think that's the case, and why does that make you love working with them so much?
I can share my anecdotal evidence, but you can also just look at Q scores. It's like there's nobody that dislikes firefighters because they put their lives on the line to save people's grandmothers and sisters and pets and frankly property too. And they're just incredible people. I got a chance to meet hundreds of them at the national convention in Indianapolis. It's called FDIC. And it's basically 30,000 people with mustaches walking around wearing the navy blue t-shirt with the emblem on their chest. And that was where it kind of clicked for me. I said, this is a special community of people who truly are about other people. And I think it's human nature to be about yourself, but firefighters are all about other people. And secondly, I would say that my first day on the job when I toured our factory at Task Force Tips, that was probably the most patriotic in-person moment I've ever had in my life. Just seeing hardworking people contributing to life-saving equipment, walking around the factory floor like in Tommy Boy. I was like, I'm proud to be an American. This is a really cool thing to get behind.
Yeah, that's really neat. Gorden, thanks for joining us. Thank you for the work that you and everybody at TFT does.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. My thanks to Gorden Voit for joining us in person in studio. And of course, my thanks to everybody at TFT for the hard work that they do day in and day out, and to our firefighters as well for keeping our community safe. Thank you to each of you for tuning in. We hope to see you again right back here next week. Until then, my name is Sam Chen. On behalf of all of us here at Face the Issues, thank you.